clean, green and healthy environment, that this house urges the government and the general public to maintain a clean, green and healthy environment as a strategic measure against climate change. So to be on live commentary, my name is Matima Mkua. Just now, we take you to the chamber. Good morning.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for our rights. We want freedom's fight for one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by God's good hand. Let us all have people join us one, brothers under the sun, oh one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry, dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Green and we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities. In this land, let your blessings descend upon us here in Parliament, assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Honorable members, before we get to the Parliament, I wish to welcome you to the House. All had wonderful Easter holidays. Let me take this opportunity to urge all honorable members to take the business of the House seriously and debate passionately on behalf of the people of Zambia that we serve. I invite you to exercise your freedom of speech and debate without fear. You are most welcome once again, and I wish you all very fruitful deliberations. I thank you. Notice of motion. The Honorable Chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my name is Asford Kachingwe from Matero constituency. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House urges the government and the general public to maintain a clean, green, and healthy environment as a strategic measure to fight climate change. I thank you.
Is the motion seconded?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Nathan Kafue, representing Bwengo constituency, and I second the motion.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Wengwa constituency, Honorable Nathan Kafue. The question is that this House urges the government and the general public to maintain a clean, green, and healthy environment as a strategic measure to fight climate change. Any debate? The chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Asford Kachingwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I acknowledge the fact that climate change is not a local issue but a global issue. However, Madam Speaker, I believe that this issue can be sorted when we start from the roots of the problem. Madam Speaker, I do believe that sensitization and educating the general public is actually going to do us a good thing, because we are going to fight together and put an end to climate change. Madam Speaker, I acknowledge the fact that climate change is not a fight for the government alone, nor is it for the general public alone, but it calls for a collaborative measure from both the government as well as the general public. Therefore, I suggest that we carry out sensitizations in all parts of the country, starting from the lowest constituencies up to the national level. Madam Speaker, let us educate our people in various constituencies. Let us inform them of the dangers of pollution, and let us sensitize them on how we can put an end to pollution. Let us provide proper waste collection materials where each and every person can have access to proper disposal of wastes. Then in this manner, we're going to have a clean environment. We're going to have a clean environment that will be climate free. Madam Speaker, I would also like to stress out the fact that in our various schools in this country, let us try by all means to educate our school-going pupils on how they can prevent pollution on small-scale levels. For example, Madam Speaker, let us prevent dust collection bins in each and every schools. Let us carry out sensitizations. Let us set periodic times. If we want to have a sensitization, let's say once in a month, let us carry out a movement talking about waste collection. Madam Speaker, I believe to say if we work together, we are going to fight climate change. I thank you.
Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Wengwa, Honorable Nathan Kafue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the privilege to speak. My name is Nathan Kafue, representing Bwengo constituency. Climate change has been a very challenging outburst since the beginning of time. To briefly describe it, climate change is a complex phenomenon characterized by long-term shifts in global weather patterns and average climate conditions. And for so long, climate change has had overwhelming impacts to the country, some of which are hotter temperatures, severe storms, and decreased droughts. Although climate change can be diverged with the complete cooperation of the general public and the government. Points to keep the country clean, green, and healthy as follows. Introduction to labeled trash bins. Health is a very essential part in the act of ending climate change. Hence, structural alternatives should be put to consideration. The government must produce a modified production of labeled trash bins for easy application of common citizens. Graphic objects, either representing glass material, plastic, or metal, should be placed on them. This is for easy acknowledgement and application. My next point states, resistance to foreign industrialization. Foreign industries have led to environmental disorders. This is due to toxic gas emissions like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and methane. The hospitality and magnanimity our great country has attributed to foreign industries has led to its downfall. And if not apprehended, climate change can persist to our future. I thank you.
Any further debate? Honorable Benzu Hamunjo, Mbabala constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to lay my views. My name is Honorable Hamunjo Wenzu from Baala constituency. Madam Speaker, the motion in today's August House urges the government and the general public to keep our country clean, green, and healthy as a measure to fight climate change. Madam Speaker, allow me to forge ahead to the resolutions to end climate change. Madam Speaker, I would like to urge the citizens of Zambia at a personal level to stop the cutting down of trees, which is deforestation, but practice reforestation, Madam Speaker, for we know as citizens of Zambia that Zambia is highly recognized by the vegetation that we uphold. Madam Speaker, allow me to forge ahead to urging the general public at the community level through introducing better resources for them to cook in their homes or light their homes by them using gas stoves and solar panels. Madam Speaker, if the community practices the 3 R's, which is reuse, reduce, resources, I believe climate change can aid. Madam Speaker, allow me to urge the general public again at another level by adapting strategies like strengthening early warm systems, promoting irrigation and implementation. Madam Speaker, through the government, I would love to urge the Rural Electrification Authority to electrify each and every rural each and every house in rural areas, Madam Speaker, to combat climate change. Madam Speaker, if we also resort to using better means of power in our houses rather than us using oil and coal, but we resort to wind and thermal electricity, I believe Zambia can be a better country. Madam Speaker, I thank you. I submit.
Honorable Juliet Kangwa, Matero constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for that wonderful opportunity. My name is Honorable Juliet Kangwa from Matero constituency. Madam Speaker, this House believes that urges the government and the general public to keep our country green, clean, and healthy as a measure to fight climate change. Madam Speaker, I would rather urge the general public because the government is doing a lot to make sure that our country is clean, green, as well as healthy. Through Zafico, our government has made sure to say that they conserve our natural resources, such as forests, thereby implementing policies of replacing trees for each and every tree that is cut. But it's because of our general public being ignorant that they do not replace each and every tree that is cut, thereby leading to excess cutting down of trees. Madam Speaker, I strongly urge the general public to not be ignorant but rather follow the policies that the government has implemented. I would also urge the government to enforce these laws by making strict measures as well, thereby making sure that each and every tree that is cut will not replaced. Each and every person that has illegally cut down the trees may be arrested. Madam Speaker, I furthermore urge the government, the general public, to collaborate with the government, thereby we will have a clean, green, as well as healthy country, which will be climate change free. Madam Speaker, I strongly urge the government to also arrest each and every person that cut down trees illegally by not reforestating, which I simply means the replacing of trees. Madam Speaker, I simply mean I urge the government to plant more trees, thereby we'll have a green country. I thank you.
Honorable Lutanda Chandamumba, Kawata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Lutanda Chandamumba, coming from Kawata constituency,
Honorable member, be a bit audible now.
All right, Madam Speaker. My name is Lutanda Chandamumba from the Kawata constituency, and today I have but a few points to share with you about the motion that has been set on the floor in this House this morning. My first point is that we need more strategic policy responses for us to maintain a green, clean, and healthy environment. My second point is that we must urge the government to ensure that all environmental laws and policies must be enforced and they must be followed. My third point is climate smart. By this, I mean that we must find solutions for us to stop climate change, like we can have renewable energy, we may have clean transportation and sustainable urban planning. But with this, Madam Speaker, we are going to need funds which we need for us to carry out these solutions. My fourth point is environmental education, where we are going to urge the government that we need to go to every school and educate the children about the effects of climate change, not just on them, but on the environment and what they can do about it to stop it. My fourth point, Madam Speaker, is environmental sustainability, where we should make sure that environmental sustainability is the heart of economic development so that it does not affect the mining sector and especially the Kafue River, Madam Speaker. And my final point, Madam Speaker, we urge the government to lead by example in greening the public buildings and in buildings, industries, and supporting local communities. With this, Madam Speaker, I thank you and I submit.
Honorable Mutali Pauline, Chikankata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Pauline Muntali from Chikankata constituency. Madam Speaker, the devastating impacts of climate change are no longer a distant threat but a harsh reality. Today, I urge this House to recognize the urgent need for collective action to protect the environment and ensure a sustainable future for generations to come. Madam Speaker, the climate crisis demands a unified response as we debate this motion. I implore you to consider the long-term consequences of our actions as you join me in urging the government and the general public to prioritize environmental sustainability by doing the following. We can urge the government by implementing and developing environmental policies such as laws to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, protect wildlife habitats, and protect our land. Madam Speaker, we can also implement the general public by enforcing laws such as making the community aware of the fact that they need to keep our country clean, green, and healthy to prevent climate change. With these few points, I thank you.
Honorable Faith Mwetwa, Kawata constituency. Honorable Innocent Daka, Matero constituency.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for this wonderful privilege to speak on behalf of my constituency. My name is Daka Innocent from Matero constituency. Madam Speaker, referring back to the motion that has been laid in the House, urges the government and the general public to keep our country clean, green, and healthy as a strategic measure to fight climate change. Madam Speaker, I think now it is high time that we stop singing this song, the government should do this, the government should do that. Because, Madam Speaker, the government has already done a lot, Madam Speaker. The government has already implemented so many programs, Madam Speaker, which are running right now. I think it is high time that we now urge the general public, because if we keep saying the government, who is the government? We the people, Madam Speaker, as the government ourselves, Madam Speaker. I therefore, Madam Speaker, urge the general public, Madam Speaker, that they should follow and collaborate by these policies and laws which the government have implemented, Madam Speaker. We have so many programs which are running, such as the Cash for Work, Madam Speaker. People are cleaning the environment on a daily basis, Madam Speaker. Who has done that? The government. And I believe to say the government has done a lot. It's just that the general public are so ignorant, Madam Speaker. Someone knows to say dumping garbage in prohibited areas. It's a crime, Madam Speaker. It's an offense. But yet, they are still doing that, Madam Speaker. I think it is high time that I urge the general public that let us collaborate, let us cooperate with the government, let us follow and uphold these policies, because these policies which the government has implemented, they're effective enough if only upheld by the general public. Madam Speaker, I think it is high time now that we rise up as the people, because we are the government ourselves. We don't want the government to start running or going up in our homes, Madam Speaker, to collect garbage. Let's rise up as the general public. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Royce Chilonga, Solwezi East constituency. Honorable Teshen Jacob Chalwe, Wengwa constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Wengwa constituency this opportunity. My name is Honorable Teshen Jacob Chalwe, and I'm for the motion because climate change and its effects have been felt and experienced by the citizens of Zambia. And if we as a country, we try to ignore the facts about the dangers of climate change, we'll soon end up in a hostile country, not fit for human beings or animals to live in. It is therefore a responsibility for the government
to take an active part in the sensitization of the citizens of Zambia on the importance of living in a clean, green, and healthy nation as a measure to avoid the exacerbation of climate change. It also requires the government to enforce more strict policies and laws that are concerned with the cleanness and greenery of the nation. The government will also need to offer funds to the organizations and associations of the nation that help to do cleaning in the environment and also replanting of trees. Such an example, we have the Keep Zambia Clean campaign, which has continued to compel statutory number 100 of 2011, which compels the residents and institutions to take responsibility for the waste that they produce. And for this to happen, we also require the general public to adhere to the policies and regulations that are put across by the government. And also the citizens will also be required to sensitize the other members of society on the importance of cleanliness also. They also need to teach each other on proper waste management, such as recycling, burning, or burying of waste. Thank you.
Honorable Bubala, Simonga, Mbabala constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to lay down my views. My name is Honorable Simonga Bubala from Babala constituency. Madam Speaker, the motion at hand in the August House urges the government and the general public to keep our country clean, green, and healthy as a measure to fight climate change. Madam Speaker, allow me to state down the solutions. Madam Speaker, by introducing clubs such as poetry clubs, Madam Speaker, debate clubs that will be going in our communities, Madam Speaker, to sensitize our communities on the effects of climate change. Madam Speaker, also the Ministry of Education, Madam Speaker, should introduce climate change in our school syllabus, Madam Speaker, so that each and every individual should learn about the effects of climate change, starting from an early childhood to university. Madam Speaker, the presence of climate change in our environment clearly means to say that the ZEMA, also known as the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, is not doing its mandated duties to sensitize industries on the need to use ozone-friendly gases in the process of invention. Henceforth, strict punishment must be conducted on each and every individual who cuts down trees without replacement. Madam Speaker, I'm also urging everyone, Madam Speaker, to embrace the Keep Zambia Clean campaign, Madam Speaker, so that Zambia should go back to having the green vegetation that it has always been known for. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Honorable Member, Blessings Nyirenda, Chikankata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the great opportunity you have given to me. My name is Blessings Nyirenda, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chikankata constituency. The following are some of the measures we can take to curb climate change. First and foremost, let's try by all means to keep our country clean. This will promote public health. When garbage is properly managed and the air is free from pollution, the outbreak of diseases such as cholera, malaria, and other respiratory illnesses are reduced. There will be fewer people in hospitals, therefore increasing the productivity in the nation. Secondly, air pollution must be tackled. Let the government and the general public work hand in hand to regulate harmful emissions from factories and vehicles to significantly reduce greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide and methane, which are the key contributors to global warming. Madam Speaker, another measure we can take to curb climate change is that we should plant more trees and preserve forests. Trees play a vital role in absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. This can be done by launching tree planting programs. The government and the general public can take a strong step towards balancing our carbon emissions. Madam Speaker, allow me to end with this saying. A country has soldiers to defend itself from enemies. Even the environment has us to stand up tall and defend it from climate change. Climate change is no longer a distant threat, but a harsh reality, and we are here to reverse that destruction. Madam Speaker, with these few points of mine, I rest my case.
Honorable Member, Ruth Mwape, Solwezi East Constituency. Honorable Member, Katongo, Chongo, Kawata Constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Katongo Jongo from Sishemo Education Trust, representing the Kawata constituency. Allow me to say the motion. Allow me to state the motion as I quote: to maintain a
Honorable
clean.
Member, you are not allowed to state the motion. Get direct to your point.
Madam Speaker, how can we maintain a clean, green, and healthy environment? Number one, strong rules for nature. We should have rules for nature that identify we should have rules for nature according to, we should make rules for nature and announce them to the government so that the government can announce them to the public. Secondly, I would advise clear disposal of waste management. Waste has become the lifestyle of Zambia's life.
Point of order.
Waste management has become a problem in Zambia. So we need to improve cleanliness among nations. Thank you.
Honorable Sakuwahalia, Chikankata Constituency.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I rise today. My name is Honorable Leah Sakwaha, representing Chikankata constituency. I rise today to address the critical issue that affects us all, the state of the environment as we strive to build a prosperous and healthy nation. It is very much imperative that we prioritize environmental conservation. Climate change, pollution, and waste management are just a few of the problems that we face, and it is our collective responsibility to take action. Madam Speaker, to effectively address these challenges, I propose the following key initiatives: public awareness and education. This can be done by organizing community events where the government must ensure that our communities are engaged in tree planting exercises, cleanup campaigns, and environmental awareness events. Secondly, utilize social media. Social media platforms should be utilized to leverage environmental awareness events and to share engaging content about environmental awareness events. We should also collaborate with local influencers and thought leaders to help reach a wider audience. Madam Speaker, by working together and implementing these initiatives, we can create a clean, green, and healthier Zambia. I urge my fellow parliamentarians to join me in supporting these efforts so that we can create a cleaner, greener, and healthier Zambia for future generations. I thank you.
Honorable Ruth Kanyemba, Munali Constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. Switch to sustained transport. Madam Speaker, petrol and diesel vehicles, planes and ships all use fossil fuels. As a solution to climate change going forward, Madam Speaker, I urge our government to begin to reduce on cars that use fuels and switch to electric vehicles. Not only that, Madam Speaker, but also minimize unplanned travel for short distances, because this will
Honorable Member,
not.
You are not in order to read.
Because this will not help stop climate change, it will also reduce air pollution too. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Jackson Kafwanda, Solwezi East Constituency. Honorable Edward Siamuchiliva, Munali Constituency. Honorable Tamika, all right.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance to speak. Madam Speaker, I'll go straight to my first point. Number one, instead of burying our organic waste like food scraps and yard scraps, we can urge the government and general public, instead of burying our organic waste, the government can use it to reproduce a very valuable fertilizer. My second point, investing in renewable energy sources. The government can encourage the development and deployment of new energy technologies like solar power, wind power, hydropower, and geothermal power, replacing fossil fuels and reducing emissions. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Tamika Yowela, Kawata Constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Tamika Yoela from Sishemo Education Trust, representing the Kawata constituency. Madam Speaker, allow me to draw your attention to the ozone layer. The ozone layer is very crucial because it protects the earth from the harmful rays of the sun. But it has been noticed that the ozone layer has started thinning or developing holes. The thing that's causing this is air pollution. Air pollution has also caused climate change. So I would advise companies to start venturing in recycling business. This will reduce the amount of waste being burnt. And also the government should come up with deliberate programs that educate the general public about the dangers of burning and cutting down trees for charcoal. Thank you.
Honorable Mbole Tao, Chikankata Constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity for my voice to be heard in this august house. Madam Speaker, I urge the government to increase investments in renewable energy. I am aware that Zambia generates hydroelectricity power, but Madam Speaker, we still rely on fossil fuel for generation. Madam Speaker, rural areas in Zambia still rely on fossil fuel for generation of electricity, which leads to climate change, Madam Speaker, due to the emissions of greenhouse gases, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, an example of the rural areas that we have in Zambia that rely on fossil fuel for generation of electricity are Mfumba in the northern province there and Mongu district in the western province. Madam Speaker, I urge the government to see through what the rural areas are going through. Madam Speaker, the members of public can also help with educating each other about climate change, its impacts, and also mitigations. With these few points, I rest my case.
Honorable Kaswa Musonda, Solwezi East Constituency.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Solwezi East constituency a chance to speak in this very important matter. Madam Speaker, I'll go straight to the solution that must be done in order to prevent climate change in our country. Climate change is mainly caused by the addition of harmful or greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The government is working very hard to fight climate change in our country, but I urge the government to enforce the laws which are being made. The government has made a lot of laws in our country to fight climate change, but these laws are not being enforced. Why do I say so, Madam Speaker? The government has made a law which states that smoking in public is not allowed. But this law is not being enforced, and everywhere we go, we are finding people smoking in and out. Madam Speaker, I urge the general public to plant more trees in order to fight climate change. Trees help in cleaning our atmosphere because trees absorb carbon dioxide, which the carbon dioxide gets attracted to the ozone layer and creates holes in the ozone layer, causing the heat which comes from the sun to enter the earth, and they fail to escape. Madam Speaker, I urge the government to help the general public in order to educate them about the harmful substances that cause the addition of gases that are very dangerous to our atmosphere. They must educate the people of Zambia to learn how to avoid harmful chemicals or harmful materials like soda. Madam Speaker, allow me to urge the general public to work together with the government in order to fight climate change in our country, to avoid harmful substances and the cutting down of trees. I raise my case.
Honorable Kalonga Chilea, Wengwa constituency.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving Bwengwa constituency the great pleasure to debate in this honorable house. My name is Kalonga Chilea, honorable member of Bwengwa constituency. Madam Speaker, the government is doing an amazing job when it comes to keep Zambian green, clean, and healthy. There are some rules and regulations that have been put all around the world, although they cannot be enforced much as they are right now. We all throw litter around, knowingly and unknowingly, Madam Speaker. Let's say everyone who throws litter around will be jailed to 6 and 7 years. Let's say, example, you're drinking a bottle of Coca-Cola, and then you accidentally throw it around. You're jailed for 6 years. Do you think anyone can survive? My answer is no. Just last year, in my constituency, the government helped us to plant 13,700 trees, and I'm happy to report, out of the 13,700 trees, 13,500 trees have germinated into full-grown trees. So that means we contributed to the climate change, Madam Speaker. The government has done more than amazing, but the general public the general public is not accommodating what the government is doing, Madam Speaker. The government has done more than enough to help us, but we just have to apply with that. Thank you very much.
Honorable Ruth Kaliata, Chikankata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to share my views with the public concerning the motion that has already been stated earlier. My name is Ruth Kaliata, and I'm standing here to represent Chikankata constituency. My topic is on improving waste management. Madam Speaker, we all know to say that the government introduced policies in order to manage our wastes properly. But people are not taking them seriously, so they neglect these policies. So I urge the government to be stricter in terms of regulations and enforcements in order for people to dispose these wastes properly. The government should also ensure proper collection of these wastes, especially in rural areas, so as to ensure proper disposal of these wastes. The government should also encourage the public, the members of Zambia, the citizens of Zambia, to use biodegradable materials so that they cannot pollute our environment. Additionally, Madam Speaker, I would like to urge companies that manufacture diapers to please make reusable diapers in order for us to fight the issue for diapers. Nowadays, Madam Speaker, we can find diapers all over, lying all over, which are not even pleasing to look at. So if they were to make reusable diapers, they can change the narrative by making people to use these diapers for a long period of time, Madam Speaker. Allow me to end by saying,
positive thinking plus positive action can take or can lead to a positive result. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah. Honorable Given Kasono, Solwezi East Constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, protect our environment is more important than ever. Small changes to our daily habits can make a very big difference in preserving the planet for our future generations. Here are some simple yet effective ways to keep our environment clean, green, and healthy. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, avoid the single use of plastic like bags, straws, and so on. Reuse items like bags, straws, clothing instead of throwing them away. Recycle. Cloths, bottles, straws to minimize the landfill waste. Madam Speaker, conserve energy. Switch to energy-led bulbs.
Point of order. Point of order is raised.
Unplug electronics when not in use.
Honorable member, take your seat. A point of order has been raised.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Is the honorable member in order to read from her notes rather than her represent her constituency from her point of view?
Honorable member, you are not in order to read your points. Please submit. You can continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Conserve water. Turn off taps while brushing or washing dishes. Use rainwater for gardening. Plant trees and go green. Plants absorb carbon dioxide and provide oxygen. Plant more in our community. Start a small gardening. Even potted plants can help. I have raised my case.
Honorable member, Astrida Kamwale, Chikankata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to air out my views. My name is Astrida Kamwale. I'm here to represent Chikankata constituency. The government should introduce the policy of keeping our country clean in school curriculums, so that they educate the people starting from the primary level to the senior level. They learn how to reduce climate change, so that they grow up with the mentality of keeping our country clean, green, and healthy. We should come together as a nation we have to come together as a nation in order to keep our country clean, green, and healthy. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I raise my case.
Honorable Jacob Kalenga, Kawata constituency.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, to give me this an opportunity to speak. My name is Jacob Karenga from Seshemo Education Trust, representing Kawata constituency. Madam Speaker, we can keep this a clean, green, and healthy environment by organizing cleaning programs and by unblocking sewers to avoid pollution and floods. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Nkuwa Dennis, Chikankata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I am Honorable Dennis Nkwa of Chikankata constituency. We do recognize that the government has put in place so many policies and many measures to combat climate change. In so, I would urge the public to make resourceful use of amenities that are being provided by the government, such as dustbins in public places, such as markets and bus stations. The government has recognized that such places result into mass production of waste as a result of economic activities that take place there. Other than that, I would strongly urge the general public to ensure that they avoid vandalizing amenities that are being provided. Other than that, I would also urge the government, Madam Speaker, to strongly invest in recycling industries. Why so? When we recycle waste, we reduce the amount of waste that is available in our society, reducing carbon emissions. For instance, if we recycle methane, which can be produced by organic biodegrading materials, we can use it for other things, such as production of electricity. Methane is just an example of such things. We can also recycle things such as paper to also reduce the cutting down of trees. With these few but convincing points, Madam Speaker, I submit.
Honorable Julieta Kazadi, Solwezi East constituency.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving the people of Solwezi East constituency this opportunity to air out their views on this important matter. I am Kazadi Kimwenge Julieta, coming from Solwezi East constituency, as mentioned. Madam Speaker, the government has done its best by implementing renewable energy sources, for instance, the solar panels and the hydroelectric power station. But, Madam Speaker, I feel by eradicating the invasive species that are found, for instance, a Kafua weed that has covered up the waters, by enhancing that is going to improve more on the power electric station of the hydro power electric station at Kafua Gorge, hence causing electricity to be supplied at a higher rate in the country and also reducing reliance on other electricity builders that are not economic friendly. Madam Speaker, in the same vein, if this is enhanced, there will be more of marine transport, hence reducing combustion and no pollution at all, causing water to be healthy for the people of Zambia and conducive. Madam Speaker, the government has also put a red footprint on carbon footprints, Madam Speaker, by reducing the emission of uranium and use of batteries.
Honorable Member, point of order is raised. You can take your seat.
Honorable Member, please take your time. Nobody is chasing you because none of us can hear what you're saying.
Thank you for that, Madam Speaker. Let me forward
Honorable Member, my previous Honorable Member, you are not in order. That was not a point of order.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I was saying, by eradicating the carbon footprint, so be no emission of uranium, hence causing no soil degradation, and so also making a clean, green, and a healthy environment for Zambia as a measure to curb and also fight climate change, I submit.
Honorable Derek Lubasi, Chikankata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this grand opportunity to express my views. Madam Speaker, why should we urge the government to do something that it's already doing? We can see the provision of dustbins that it has already put in our great city of Lusaka. We can see the Cash for Work program that it's already doing in Mongo. So, Madam Speaker, if the government is doing all this to make Zambia more clean, green, and healthy, why do we have to urge it? But we have to urge the general public at large to keep up with the speed of the government. Because if the general public is too stubborn to keep up with the speed of the government, Madam Speaker, that's why we are not going any forward to finding our goal or to achieving our goal of having a greener, cleaner Zambia. If we say an individual buys a bottle of Coca-Cola, there's a recycling note that is written on the bottle cap of that. But what do we do as an individual? We use it and just throw it carelessly anyway. How long will that take to decompose? A very long time, Madam Speaker, leaving our economy, leaving our country very dirty. So, Madam Speaker, if we think about it in a very, very, very clear way, the government has done its level best, but the public is just not giving its level best. Thank you.
Honorable Member, Chris Leader, Piri Munali constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to the motion of today in this August House. My name is Krishida Piri and I'm representing Manali constituency. Here are my solutions to climate change. 1. Restore nature to absorb more carbon. Madam Speaker, the natural world is very good at cleaning up our emissions, but we need to look after it. Madam Speaker, planting trees in the right places or giving land back to nature through rewilding is a good place to start, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is the more reason we are all encouraged to plant more trees. Madam Speaker, the advocacy should be that when we cut down one tree, we should plant 5 more trees. And when we cut down 2 trees, we should plant 10 more trees. This technique will help restore nature and take away carbon dioxide. My next point is that we should all protect Zambian forests. Madam Speaker, these forests include dry evergreen forests, dry deciduous forests, and many more forests, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, additionally, there are woodlands like Miyombo, Mopani, and many more, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my next point is that we should all protect water bodies. Madam Speaker, Zambia's water bodies include major river systems like the Kafue, Zambezi, and Luangwa, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in my conclusion, I say that these solutions need strong international cooperation between the governments and the businesses, including the most pollinating sectors. Madam Speaker, this is not only that, but also on the other hand, individuals can also play a part by making better choices about where they get the energy, how they travel, and what food they eat, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, but the key to stop climate change is to take collective action. Together we can. I rest my case. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Zelipa Daka, Chikankata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to air out my views. My name is Zelipa Daka. I'm presenting Chikankata constituency. Concerning about the motion which has been stated already, I'm going to talk on how we can make our country green. Green spaces are essential for absorbing carbon dioxide, producing oxygen, and supporting biodiversity. By planting more trees, create urban parks, and promote sustainable agriculture, we can enhance our country's carbon sequestration capabilities. For example, urban forests can reduce urban heat islands effects, while sustainable agriculture practice can improve soil health and reduce synthetic fertilizers. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Emmanuel Mumba, Kawata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me a great opportunity to stand and speak on behalf of the Kawata constituency. My name is Mumba Emmanuel, coming from Kawata constituency. Madam Speaker, I'm talking on climate concerning the public health, and our theme is clean environment, healthy people. Climate change is nation's threat, extreme weather, rising temperatures, and natural disasters which worsen air quality and contaminate water supplies. The World Health Organization estimates additional of 250,000 deaths from 2030 and 50 due to malnutrition, malaria, and air pollution is responsible for 7 million premature deaths, accounts 12% of deaths worldwide. Poor sanitation, polluted environments contributes for diseases to spread. World Health Organization estimates 2.2 billion people lack access to safe drinking, contributes to waterborne diseases affecting 4 million people each year. Children under 5 account 90% of cholera deaths. And then with this other point that I might have, trees absorb pollutants. Trees absorb pollutants partake in. Trees absorb pollutants, air pollution that removes 711,000 air pollution to remove clean oxygen that will result in cleaning the air in the atmosphere. And then in my conclusion, I say that the government must urge for clean public health services. I thank you.
Honorable Amina Mono Monga, Kapirimposhi constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Amina Mono Monga, and I am the honorable member of Kapiri constituency. Madam Speaker, climate change goes all the way from local. Members of Madam Speaker, climate change is not a local problem, but a global problem. Therefore, if we are to urge the government and the people, other nations at large should also be urged to come up with policies that help fight climate change. Because if Zambia is the only country that is fighting climate change, we will still be affected by the greenhouse gases from other countries. Secondly, Madam Speaker, climate change is a very expensive fight to engage into. The government is doing its best, Madam Speaker, to combat climate change. Climate change, Madam Speaker, is a very hazard to our living. Madam Speaker, the government has done enough. Therefore, we should not urge it, but the general public to engage in this fight by using sustainable transports. Madam Speaker, for short distances, the public should be urged to use public transport such as buses instead of cars. We can also come up with policies of using bicycles, Madam Speaker. Furthermore, the government has a lot of other important sectors to focus on other than climate change. Therefore, it is not only the government's responsibility, but rather the public at large. Lastly, Madam Speaker, the general public, Madam Speaker, should drift its farming systems from crops that only depend on rain, but rather engage into crops that cannot really be affected by climate change, such as drought-resistant crops. Madam Speaker, because climate change is inevitable, it is not only caused by human activities, but rather natural phenomena, meaning with or without human activities, climate change is going to be caused. Therefore, the government and the general public, the government should urge the general public to drift its farming systems. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Chimwemwe Mulenga, Chimwemwe constituency.
Even great baristas know that cleanliness is next to godliness. For we do not have one color, but multiple colors, and yet the color green is of no match. Madam Speaker, standing in front of you about to deliver and to expertise to this house in an intellect manner coming from the Chimwemwe constituency, from Chimwemwe Secondary School, by the name of Chimwemwe Mulenga. Madam Speaker, before I move an inch further, it will be more of a speaker of my caliber to go on without passing my sincere benediction to this house, or may I simply say, all diplomatic dialogue be highly observed. Madam Speaker, the color green in our Zambian national flag does not only symbolize the fertility of the land, the natural vegetation, and natural resources. Madam Speaker, it goes beyond that. It symbolizes Zambia's rich agriculture sector, environmental preservation, highlighting the importance of land to the country's economy and as a way of life. Madam Speaker, in our quest to make our country a green, clean, and healthy environment, it's important, Madam Speaker, or should I really say, it is very cardinal, Madam Speaker, to highlight, Madam Speaker, and recognize the important initiatives that the government are putting in place to make this country a greener country by the year 2030. Madam Speaker, or should I really say, indeed, country, men, and women. Chimwemwe constituency
today brings to you challenges, solutions that the government can adopt to really get a greener country by the year 2030, which includes deforestation. The only way we can mitigate deforestation in our country is by afforestation. Madam Speaker, as we know that 250,000 to 300,000 of trees are being cut down annually, Madam Speaker, yearly. For what, Madam Speaker? For charcoal production. In Copper Belt, Madam Speaker, we simply say for Amalasha, Madam Speaker. The only way we can achieve this, Madam Speaker, is by afforestation.
Honorable Member, your time is up. Take your seat.
80 seconds to sum up.
Honorable Member, take your seat.
I submit.
Honorable Member, Wepu Tawo Munali constituency.
Honorable Madam Speaker, distinguished members of Parliament, honorable members, this motion is not just important, it is urgent. Climate change is affecting our everyday lives, from increased temperature to pollution in our air and in our water. Maintaining our country is not just government's duty, it includes a collaborative effort involving every citizen. Clean environments reduce climate impact using eco-friendly products and keeping and managing waste. Clean surroundings limit pollution and harmful substances. Green practices sustain natural resources. Planting trees absorbs carbon dioxide and improves air quality. Healthy environments protect public health. Clean air and water reduce diseases like cholera and respiratory infections. Renewable energy is the future. By using solar power, wind power reduces dependency on fossil fuels. Educating creates environmental champions. I myself, I used to litter, and I'm sure everyone in here has littered before. But ever since a Go Green Club came to our school, I stopped littering and found out the importance of our environment. Environmental clubs in schools teach pupils how to create and care for nature. Government and public must work together. Collective responsibilities must be emphasized. Thank you.
Honorable Shuko Walia, Kanyama constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for recognizing Kanyama constituency. Representing Kanyama constituency, my name is Shuko Walia. Madam Speaker, by going green as a nation, we will improve and protect our green economy. Madam Speaker, by boosting forestry and greenery, we will uphold the habitation places for the animals that we use for foreign investments, for foreign tourism, and for everything that we use the forests for. We have timber production, the copper belt, that needs tree planting. So when we have enough trees to facilitate that, we will have a stable economy and will create employment for our countrymen and women. Madam Speaker, the trees will not protect themselves if we and the governments do not protect them. Meaning laws and regulations should be there. We should stiffen the laws and regulations for us to have a better green economy. Madam Speaker, let us take a look at the Forest Act number 4 of 2015. This law teaches that we should conserve our forests and we should manage them nicely. When we cut down trees, we are lessening the amount of carbon that is being absorbed in the atmosphere. So when we have enough trees, we'll have enough employment, we'll have enough carbon repairment of the, we will have enough carbon that will be maintained, we'll have oxygen that will fix up the ozone layer, of which will maintain a clean and green environment. When the governments, the general public, and other institutions such as Shanga Omone, other campaigns such as the Zanako tree planting program comes together, makes a framework on how we will move forward in planting trees and cleaning it. We'll have unity in our nation by so doing, and we'll also have a clean environment because the government and the general public will be working together, Madam Speaker. Why should this not take place when we, the general public, and the government can work together as a collective? Thank you.
Your time is up.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Grace Chakufwa, Lusaka Central constituency.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to represent my constituency, Lusaka Central constituency. My name is Honorable Grace Chakfuaya. Madam Speaker, I do believe that climate change is a serious problem, but I firmly also believe that the government is already taking action. Madam Speaker, through policies and programs, Madam Speaker, the government has set key policies and programs to mitigate climate change. One of them is the National Climate Change Policy, NCCP, and also the National Adaptation Program of Action, NAPA. Madam Speaker, these are programs that the government has set already to look at various causes and to look at how to mitigate climate change. Madam Speaker, the government, through education, through the Ministry of Education, is also looking at how they can teach our learners on how to learn how to prevent climate change at an early stage, Madam Speaker, where they invest in the syllabus by teaching the children how to stop burning and the causes of burning to our environment, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the government is also investing in cleaning our community. I myself from Saka Central, Madam Speaker, I've seen the government taking action where I see people cleaning in the roads. These people clean for food, for work, Madam Speaker. And we cannot say that the government is not doing anything, Madam Speaker. The government is already doing this. Let us not undermine what the government is already doing, Madam Speaker, but yet let us join them and help to maintain these policies that have been set by the general government. Madam Speaker, I rest my case.
Honorable Mwemba, Mainda, Chikankata constituency.
Madam Speaker, I am extremely grateful for this opportunity you have given me to speak out my mind. Madam Speaker, my name is Mainda Mwemba, coming from the Chikankata constituency, specifically Chesunta Secondary. Madam Speaker, I am here to continue to urge the government and the general public on the following. Madam Speaker, environmental management. Madam Speaker, plastic waste management is the processing, collection, and disposal of plastic waste. Madam Speaker, I believe this can be reduced and eradicated from our country, Madam Speaker, if the government would urge business institutions to ban single-use plastics and continue to use biodegradable alternatives, such as Hungry Lion, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Hungry Lion had been using plastic packaging to give out their food, but now they're using biodegradable alternatives, Madam Speaker. Public awareness is needed to continue awareing the public on the dangers, results, and causes of climate change, Madam Speaker. This can be done by social media platforms such as Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, now known as X, or Instagram, Madam Speaker. And can also be done by door-to-door campaigns. Lastly, Madam Speaker, I'll talk about health. Health is closely tied to the environment, Madam Speaker. Clean water, clean air, and sanitation is all needed to reduce climate change and cause climate shocks, Madam Speaker. And I will leave this House with a common saying. Climate change is global, but acting starts local. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Mwanamunke Somebody, Munali constituency.
Correction, Madam Speaker. My name is Sombo Blessings Mwanamuke, representing the people of Munali constituency. Madam Speaker, as the saying goes, it takes two hands to clap, Madam Speaker. This fight is not for the government alone, Madam Speaker. We all have a major role to play. But firstly, Madam Speaker, the government needs to enforce laws, protect forests, and invest in greener technologies, Madam Speaker. But as another saying goes, Madam Speaker, you can take a horse to the river, but you cannot force it to drink. If citizens don't follow the policies that are implemented by the government, then climate change will continue, Madam Speaker. We, the general public, need to work together with the government to stop climate change. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Mwemba Charity, Chikankata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to air out my views. My name is Charity Mwemba, representing Chikankata constituency. As the motion already stated earlier, I can urge the government by investing...
Honorable member, be a bit audible. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. I can help the government by investing in renewable energy sources. By investing in renewable energy source, we actually reducing the renewable on fossil fuels, which the public is mainly focusing on as their energy source, e.g. wind, geothermal, and hydro. This can reducing carbon emission. Thank you, Madam.
Chimwemwe Kapasa Chanda Kawata constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak before the House. My name is Chanda Kapasa, representing the good people of Kawata constituency. I believe climate change and environmental neglect is not just a fight for the government, but for the nation at large. First of all, I would like to urge the government and the nation to work in hand in order for us to maintain a clean, green, and healthy environment. As a citizen of Zambia, it is our responsibility to make sure that our streets, homes, workplaces, and our marketplaces are clean by organizing ourselves in small groups in our constituencies or communities in order for us to pick up garbage and waste management. My second point is that we as the citizens of Zambia, we should practice a daily responsible habits of waste management, such as recycling, reusing, and reducing of waste. My third point is that climate change has brought and has worsened some of the unfortunate circumstances and situations that our people have been suffering from, such as droughts, floods, and diseases, such as cholera, typhoid, malaria, and dysentery. And some sectors in our parts of the country have been affected. These areas I can talk about the agriculture sector. And in conclusion, I would like to urge and challenge the youths and the women at large to take an active part in the fight against climate change and in the fight against the environment's neglect. About 47.8 million of people that have been affected by climate change are women, and 80% of the people that have been affected by climate change are the youths. So I would like you to take an active part in the fight against climate change. Together we can make a clean, green, and healthy environment. I submit.
Honorable Kalunga Mwape, Material Constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for hearing the voice of Material Constituency. My name is Kalunga Mwape, Member of Parliament of Material Constituency, and I am here not to urge either the government or the general public, but us as a whole, as a nation. Madam Speaker, surely I will speak of water conservation and renewable energy. What do I mean? Madam Speaker, we surely know to say our country is very dependent on water. How? Hydroelectricity. But Madam Speaker, if we can use initiatives of other nations, such as not only electricity, but wind electricity, Madam Speaker, surely we can develop as a country. Madam Speaker, water has been wasted very much in our nation. Why? Because we are over-dependent on water, but rather we can use initiatives of using wind power, kinetic power to form electricity. Madam Speaker, not only copying other nations, but we can also uphold as a nation to develop our country. Madam Speaker, allow me to talk of what? Water conservation in our homes. Madam Speaker, surely we know to say our homes do waste water. How? We surely leave taps leaking, not only deliberately, but also mistakenly. But Madam Speaker, if we can use initiatives of monitoring our homes, surely water conservation can be implemented. My next point is renewable energy. What do I mean? As I spoke of earlier, we can use other initiatives of producing electricity. How? Wind electricity and kinetic electricity. Madam Speaker, foreign nations also use these ways and surely it has helped them to conserve the energy that surely they can help implement the fight against climate change. What do I mean? If we use other ways of conserving energy, we can fight climate change because we will not only hurt the environment, but we will reserve it. The ozone layer, the atmosphere, Madam Speaker, surely these things can be conserved. And if you need further more clarity of what I am saying, I have official articles which I shall lay on the table. I thank you.
Honorable Patience Kawewe, Solwezi East Constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for letting me speak. My name is Patience Kawewe, coming from Solwezi East Constituency. In addition to what the honorable members have said, I really think the government has implemented various ideas and policies to address the environmental challenges, including Zambia's Vision 2030, which aims for sustainable development and environmental conservation. Madam Speaker, Zambia has 20 national parks, 34 game management areas, which are also referred to as conservation areas. Madam Speaker, I feel the country is doing a good job in protecting and conserving the species and the environment and the land that's given. Madam Speaker, not only talking about conservation, Madam Speaker, the House can bear with me that the ideas of the green job programs, which are promoting green economy and job creation. Madam Speaker, not only talking about the green job programs. Madam Speaker, last year the government urged all schools to plant trees, which most of the schools went through with the activity that the government talked about. Madam Speaker, I feel this would have been more effective if the government themselves distributed trees, Madam Speaker, for the pupils to plant. Madam Speaker, in my conclusion, I beg this House to urge the government and the general public to encourage sustainable agriculture through planting of trees, in specific acacia that grows in a short period of time. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, you are rest assured that the government is listening and they will do something about it. Honorable Shamilimo Eunice, Chikankata Constituency. Honorable Kelly Mutinta, Chikankata Constituency.
I am very grateful, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to express my views. Mutinta Kelly is my name, from Namembo Day Secondary School, representing Chikankata Constituency. I am in support of the motion which has been stated earlier. The government has played a very big role by introducing renewable energy, but that is not much. I'm now urging the government to invest more in renewable energy. Renewable energy is 100% effective. Renewable energy, for it to generate power, does not need fossil fuels. If you take a look, fossil fuel, the largest contributor of fossil fuel, the largest contributor of greenhouse gas emissions comes from fossil fuels. And this renewable energy does not need fossil fuels for it to generate power. And I say solar energy. Solar energy, for it to generate power, it only needs sun. And sun, it is natural, it is a gift from God. We can be able to address climate change because our country will be clean and we have a green environment. As a result, climate change will be addressed. There will be no need of using fossil fuels for us to generate power. Renewable energy, it will provide all what we need for us in a country to be a very good country, and climate change will be addressed because of this renewable energy. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, if you go together with the agreement, is ambitious, it provides all tools we need to address climate change. I rest my case with these few points of mine. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Apologies to every honorable member that has not been given the opportunity to debate, but I am about to call upon the Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment. You can respond on behalf of the government.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to respond to the issue that have been brought up today. My name is Lisa Sanga, the Minister of Green Economy and Environment. Madam Speaker, it is with great honor that I stand here to announce to the House that the government is indeed working towards a green, clean, and healthy Zambia through different projects, such as the Zambia Integrated Forest Landscape Project. This project is supported by the government and funded by non-governmental organizations such as IDA. This project aims to reduce carbon monoxide in the atmosphere and forest degradation and deforestation in the country. Other projects like Community Market for Conservation, also a carbon-based project which is in partnership with the World Organization, focus on community conservation areas in Ruangwa Valley. For example, wells have been drilled up in places where there's no clean water for drinking or for farming. Madam Speaker, the government also has several projects such as RED, which is reducing emission of deforestation and forest degradation. And in alignment with other projects such as the Ruangwa Community Forest Project, which aims on sustainable livelihoods and conserving forest and forest management. The House can agree with me on the project that is running countrywide, which is Cash for Wake. This project is being done by the President to ensure that the country is clean and healthy, and also helps as a source of income for the people who will be working to maintain the cleanliness of the country. Madam Speaker, it will be great that I reassure the members of this House that the government has taken notice of all your concerns and all your suggestions to fight climate change, and the government will respond. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Asford Kachingwe, wind up debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to express my gratitude to the honorable members that have actually debated perfectly. We've had so many problems and many solutions have been laid on the table. And to also express my gratitude to the Minister for actually giving us an assurance to say everything that has been said has been heard. And I also thank the government for the implementations that they are putting in place and for every action that they are actually undertaking so that we can actually fight climate change once and for all. Madam Speaker, I also thank each and every honorable member for their participation and their support and dedication to the motion, and to everyone that has been in attendance. Madam Speaker, in conclusion of this debate, I am saying climate change, the fight against climate change is not a one-man fight, but it calls for collaborative measures, just like the honorable members were stating earlier. Therefore, Madam Speaker, together we can, and together we will achieve the clean, green, and healthy environment as a strategic measure to fight climate change. I thank you.
I put the question. The question is that this House urges the government and the general public to maintain a clean, green, and healthy environment as a strategic measure to fight climate change. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Her Honor, the Vice President, adjournment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Natasha Morita, presenting the Solwezi East constituency, and I beg to move the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House do now adjourn.
Good morning. Thank you so much for still being with us on Parliament Television. You're just from watching the fourth session of Children Parliament live debate that was under the motion to maintain a clean, green and healthy environment, that this House urges the government and the general public to maintain a clean, green and healthy environment as a strategic measure against climate change. And we had the Speaker, Madam Chishimba Mwanga, representing Wengwa constituency. We also had the mover of the motion, Honorable Asford Kachingwe, who is the chairperson, Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources, who was representing Material constituency. We also had the seconder of the motion, Honorable Nathan Kafue, who was representing Wengwa constituency, and we had the Minister of Green Economy and Environment, Honorable Lisa Sanga, representing Kanyama constituency, and we had the Vice President, Honorable Natasha Movita, representing Solowezi East constituency, and of course we had other children who were representing other constituencies, and this motion has been adopted. To be on live commentary, my name is Matimba Mkua on sign language. I'm joined by Jason Manda and Chola Kauma. Anytime from now, we will be crossing over to the Committee on Local Government Accounts, which is considering the report of the Auditor General on the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, for the financial year ended 31st December 2023. And today, we expect 4 witnesses to appear before this committee. We expect Chipili Town Council, Moense Town Council, Mansa Town Council and Limulunga Town Council also to make their submissions to the Committee on Local Government Accounts. So keep watching Parliament Television as we stand by for the first witness to make their submissions to the Committee on Local Government Accounts. Good morning.